Channel 5 WMAQ TV, Chicago. Now, live from the NBC Tower, this is the Channel 5 News at 4:30.
He was the sports world's most famous father, and then he was killed. It happened in rural North Carolina, where James Jordan's car was found abandoned. His body was found in a South Carolina creek.
Within days after the body was identified as that of James Jordan, authorities arrested two 18-year-old men, and now they stand charged with first-degree murder.
And tonight, for the first time since the ordeal began, Michael Jordan is talking about his father's murder. Mark Giangreco is here with the details. Mark?
Warner and Joan, in a rather lengthy release issued through his attorney, David Falk, Michael expresses his gratitude for the outpouring of sympathy and commends the efforts of law enforcement officials, but then blasts those who advanced rumors about a motive for his father's death. Jordan saying, throughout this painful ordeal, I never wavered from my conviction that Dad's death was a random act of violence. Thus, I was deeply disturbed by early reports speculating that there was a sinister connection to Dad's death. I was outraged when the speculation continued even after the arrests of the alleged murderers. These totally unsubstantiated reports reflect a complete lack of sensitivity to basic human decency. When James Jordan was murdered, I lost my dad. I also lost my best friend. I'm trying to deal with the overwhelming feelings of loss and grief in a way that would make my dad proud. I simply cannot comprehend how others could intentionally pour salt in my open wound by insinuating that faults and mistakes in my life are in some way connected to my father's death. Michael, they're referring to speculation that his father's killing was revenge for unpaid gambling debts. Now, Michael softened a bit later, saying most members of the media treated the story with dignity and sensitivity, and he vowed to carry on to deal with all of this in a way that his father would have. And Joan and Warner, coming up at 5 o'clock, we'll tell you about which way Michael's leaning toward making an appearance at his charity golf tournament. You know, the big Ronald McDonald Celebrity Classic is next weekend here.
Thanks very much,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Now to the story of the Lakeberg family and their desperate decision. Their daughters, Amy and Angela, are joined at the chest. They share a single heart and a single liver. Without surgery, both will die. With surgery, one twin has perhaps a 1% chance to survive. Willing to risk that small chance of survival, the Lakebergs this morning flew back to Philadelphia. Though the twins were born at Loyola Medical Center, doctors at Philadelphia's Children's Hospital will perform the surgery to separate them. That will happen tomorrow.
Late this afternoon, surgeons held a news conference to talk about the delicate surgery. Let's go live now by satellite to Channel 5's Sylvia Gomez, who's in Philadelphia for the latest. Sylvia?
Warner, they did update us and let us know exactly where things stand. Surgery is scheduled for tomorrow morning. It's going to be a very long procedure. They're estimating 10 to 20 hours that the girls will be on the operating table. In the meantime, their parents are going to have to sit back and wait and see what happens. Now, I flew in with them this morning. We got here this afternoon. They went straight to Children's Hospital to check on the girls. Up until now, they've been very optimistic, but today they actually said they fully expect their children to die tomorrow. They say they have to describe themselves as having faith tainted by realism.
I'm just worried what's going to happen.
Ken and Retha Lakeberg pause a moment before deboarding their plane from Chicago. Tension, fear, and even pessimism churn in their stomachs.
I don't have a positive outlook on this. I don't know what to think, you know. Hopefully everything works out right, but it just seems doubtful for me.
And there is reason to feel nervous. The chances of conjoined twins Amy and Angela surviving surgery are slim at best. The chief surgeon at Children's Hospital in Philadelphia attempts a strategy. Separate the organs below the diaphragm first, then move up to the delicate hearts. Plural. There are two hearts that merge together.
There is not a possibility for two individuals to survive, and that for the other individual to survive, that a cardiac transplant is really not an option.
A fact never taken lightly by the Lakebergs. Still, they choose not to take the girls off the respirators.
That it would be like setting one brick on top of the babies one by one until thousands of them were there. It would take an hour to 3 hours, for two to 3 hours. They would just suffocate. I don't see how that is peaceful at all. That's not a peaceful solution at all.
At the present time, our society and our government has taken the position that we will take care of everyone, and we indeed do that. We have not allowed money to be a consideration in a human life if there is any reasonable chance
And doctors say there is at least a reasonable chance for one of the twins to survive. However, they hesitate to put a number on it. We've been saying less than 1% chance because that's what we were told by Loyola doctors. Doctors here at Children's say it could be 1%, it could be more. Either way, we do know one thing. One child will definitely die. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks very much, Sylvia. We'll be in touch with you, and we will, of course, have more on this story on the Channel 5 News at 6. And tomorrow, Sylvia will join us from Philadelphia to report on the operation.
It's the Illinois version of the famous Baby Jessica case, but tonight, it's the biological parents who are losing the child they believe is theirs.
Also coming next, the men who allegedly beat truck driver Reginald Denny go on trial.
Then later, an invasion of turtles in France. Find out why the French are blaming it on an American movie.
Olson Rug Company's taking 45% off all their trackless carpets. And it was my idea.
Whatever you say.
I said the perfect way to tell people about Olson Rug's big selection of trackless styles is with the big trackless sale.
Great idea.
Olson Rug's trackless carpets subdue footprints and vacuum marks.
Olson Rug covers everything to cover your floors. Rugs, wood floors, ceramic tile, vinyl, and now 45% off every trackless carpet. Great idea.
Hey, I have an idea.
It's almost over.
Harlem Furniture's
Lowest prices of the year sale.
Ends Monday at 9.
Prices so low.
They can't be rivaled.
Will not be beaten.
Beautiful furniture.
Gorgeous furniture.
Lowest prices of the year.
Living rooms.
Bedrooms.
Dining rooms and dinettes.
Entertainment walls.
Italian leathers.
Accessories of all kinds.
Lowest prices of the year.
This is the one sale you can't afford to miss.
Harlem Furniture's lowest prices of the year sale.
Only now through Monday till 9.
Harlem Furniture.
You'll like our style.
Good news. J.D. Power & Associates ranked Toyota best compact pickup in initial quality. It gets better. It's year-end clearance at your Toyota dealers. That means great deals on a top-quality pickup that you can lease or buy and save even more with factory-to-dealer incentives. For even bigger news, how about the bigger T100, ranked best full-size pickup in initial quality. And with incentives, you can save big time. So come to your Toyota dealer and see all the good news. But hurry, good news travels fast.
It's a child custody battle, much like that of baby Jessica, but it's happening right here in Chicago. What's different in this case is that the court here is siding with the adoptive parents. Channel 5's Mark Pelsa has the details. Mark?
Warner, the Chicago case involves a 2.5-year-old boy who, just like baby Jessica, was adopted right after birth with the consent of his mother, but without the knowledge of his father. When the father found out, the couple fought to get their baby back, but a judge has ruled the biological parents didn't move quick enough. It's a familiar case with two tragically different feelings.
It's not have my child and raise my own child. I didn't do nothing bad.
We're just very grateful.
There are the adoptive parents who have raised baby Richard the last 2.5 years, and there's baby Richard's biological parents.
I was hoping if I came over this country, to my country, here you find the justice, but looks to me it's really difficult to find the justice.
A second judge has now ruled against Otto and Daniela Kirchner, a couple that came to Chicago from Czechoslovakia. She was pregnant. He returned to the homeland to visit a sick grandmother. There was a major misunderstanding. She thought he was staying for another woman. She put the baby up for adoption, went into hiding, and told him the baby had died. When they made up, he learned the truth and tried to get the baby back. The attorney for the adoptive parents say the biological father didn't file a petition to get his baby back for a full 6 weeks after he learned that that baby was adopted. That's one reason the attorney says the judge ruled that Otto is an unfit father. Today, the judge told me off camera, if a newborn child lives with adoptive parents for 18 months, then it is contrary to the best interest of the child to disturb the adoption of that child. The adoptive parents, who don't wish to be identified, have raised the child for most of its 2.5 years.
We'd like to focus on the fact that we're extremely happy that his life will go on, unaffected by everything that's been going on around him. He's totally unaware, and we're just glad that it's never going to have to be any different than that.
The Kirchners, who over the years have bought toys for baby Richard, say it's the court's fault that it took 2.5 years to complete.
It's not our fault that it took too long for the judges to decide and come out with a decision.
The adoptive parents say otherwise.
The length of time that it took was their delays, not our delays.
Meantime, all the Kirchners can do is hope the state Supreme Court reverses all of this and just keep thinking about the baby they don't have.
You're talking to the toys sometimes.
Otto and Daniela, the biological parents, will now try the Supreme Court. But as always, the state Supreme Court doesn't have to even hear the case if it chooses not to. So Warner and Joan, there's a chance, but a slim one, that they'll get their son back.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. And the people who wanted to adopt baby Jessica shared their story last night on the premiere of NBC's new show, Now. The DeBoers talked with Katie Couric during the days before the courts forced them to return Jessica to her biological parents.
They haven't asked what time she goes to bed. They haven't asked about, is she potty trained?
They haven't asked any questions about her at all.
And they're picking her up tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Jessica is now living in Iowa with her birth parents, Dan and Kara Schmidt. The Schmidts tell Couric that Jessica is adjusting well, calling Kara Mom and Dan by his name. The DeBoers have asked the Supreme Court not to review their case. They say they just want the pain to end.
And now let's check with Ron Majors for a look at what's ahead on the Channel 5 News at 5. Ron?
Warner, there's big trouble tonight at one of Chicago's most famous high-rises.
It makes me nervous. I assume it's something that they'll take care of now that it's been drawn to their attention.
The city of Chicago is taking the John Hancock building to court. At 5 o'clock, we'll have details on the problem that could mean massive evacuations at the giant tower. Also, new trouble for the CHA. The action of snipers leads to a conflict between safety and the rights of tenants. And she's a little shy, but there's a baby making history at Brookfield Zoo. We'll have those stories and more when you join us right here at 5 o'clock, Joan.
Thank you, Ron. The Daley family is well known as Chicago's political powerhouse family. Now the name's going national.
I appreciate it, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, this opportunity.
Today, President Clinton appointed Mayor Daley's younger brother, Bill, to head a campaign to promote the North American Free Trade Agreement. The 44-year-old Daley is an attorney and former president of Amalgamated Trust and Savings Bank. He says he's going to take a 4-month leave of absence from his Chicago law firm to help the Clinton administration.
Meanwhile, the president celebrated his 47th birthday with an extra long run this morning. He jogged nearly 4 miles from the White House to Arlington Cemetery and back. Well-wishers waved and even yelled out happy birthday to the president. Mr. Clinton's staff threw him a surprise birthday party last week. This afternoon, the president and his family left for an 11-day vacation to Martha's Vineyard.
Well, is there more rain? Let's ask Jim Tillman when he's here in a minute.
And we'll also find out why Madonna could end up in court.
Well, summer's almost over, and there are probably still a few projects you just never got around to. But it's not too late to get a great deal on carpet because Empire is having a huge end-of-summer clearance.
Our best-selling carpets, now 10 to 50% off, including padding and next-day installation, with no payments till January.
So give us a call. You get a great deal, and you can cross another project off the list.
588-2300 Empire.
Why do you go to Osco's Health and Beauty Sale?
Because I want to look pretty. You walk in the store and you just look better.
You'll look better with no-nonsense hosiery. The entire line is 40% off.
Well, I have this curly hair. Everybody likes my hair.
Then you'll want to stock up on assorted White Rain hair care products, just 88 cents each. And check out the entire line of Your Life vitamins at 25% off. All this and more at Osco's Health and Beauty Sale.
I feel pretty.
If breakfast is your only time for Quaker 100% natural, you're missing a lot of the fun.
Any way you crunch, Quaker natural, you'll love it 100%. You'll love it. It tastes too good for breakfast alone. Swirl it in a yogurt, pour it on fruit, top it on top of an ice cream cone. Any way you crunch, Quaker natural.
Original and low fat.
You'll love it 100%.
For the price of basic transportation, the Mitsubishi Eclipse will take you way beyond basic. Now, for as little as $169 a month and $700 down, you too can drive away in a new Eclipse.
Escape basic transportation. Test drive an Eclipse at your neighborhood Mitsubishi Motors dealer.
In Health Watch, drug trials are set to begin on a controversial AIDS vaccine. Vaccine will be tested on people beginning early next year. That testing paid for by a special $20 million congressional appropriation. That appropriation was necessary because the National Institutes of Health refused to fund the tests, saying the vaccine didn't show enough promise to justify the expense of testing. Vaccine is designed to delay the onset of AIDS in people who have the HIV virus.
Also in Health Watch, sinus infections and headaches. For some people, they seem to never end. For other people, the reason is a deviated septum. That's a structural defect inside the nose. And now there's a new way to correct the problem. Lauren Scott has more.
I was having terrible headaches and I was tired all the time. I really, even just to go to sleep sometimes, it seemed like that was the best thing to do. There was a lot of pain right in here in my facial area.
22-year-old Carrie Westling suffered for months before discovering what was wrong. Her nasal septum, or the middle part of the nose, was bent, causing a blockage in the nasal passage and a constant, painful sinus infection.
Many people with symptoms from a deviated septum can find relief with medication, but others require surgery. Today, that surgery is much easier for patients who can usually go home the same day.
She has a fairly significant obstruction blocking about 85% of this side of the nose.
With recently developed equipment, doctors are now able to reach problem areas much easier.
What the sinus endoscopes allow us to do is to go into areas which are obstructed by tissue and see the area that needs to be treated surgically. In the past, we needed to remove natural and normal tissue to get at that area.
So now the bone and cartilage that is causing the blockage can be removed, leaving straight, clear nasal passages.
Many patients, almost immediately after surgery, have marked decrease in the pressure in their head and the headaches that they complain about. Later on, hopefully they have less infections in the sinuses and less nasal obstruction. They can breathe better through their nose.
I'm not tired. I can do anything I want. I don't have to worry about, I can't do this because I have a headache. I don't want to do it. I can just basically do what I want, and I don't worry about it anymore.
And this is the area where the sinus normally drains out of.
Surgery is always a last resort, but for people suffering serious nasal problems, the options are getting better. For NBC News, I'm Lauren Scott.
The surgery takes about an hour and a half, and full recovery takes about 4 weeks.
In other news, prosecutors in the Reginald Denny beating case are calling it a vicious and horrible crime. From Los Angeles, John Gibson has the latest from the opening day in the Denny beating trial.
The mother of defendant Damian Williams arrived in court, while outside, supporters of Henry Watson and Williams protested the trial. Watson and Williams are expected to mount a defense of mistaken identity, that they are not the people seen in videotape committing crimes at the start of the L.A. riots. Prosecutor Larry Morrison's opening presentation used still frames from videos of the riots to immediately establish the identity of the two defendants at the corner of Florence and Normandy. Using pictures, he showed the jury how the attacks on 8 victims will be proved.
This is Larry Tarvin being hurled through the air like a sack of potatoes. He's a small man, much smaller than defendant Watson and the others who attacked him. He was struck by Mr. Watson, and then, while Tarvin was on the ground, defendant Watson comes up and kicks Mr. Tarvin in the side, just like you would kick off in a football game.
Reginald Denny's appearance at the scene came after several others had been attacked.
Defendant Watson stomps down on Mr. Denny on his neck and or head, and then Williams steps forward. After having plenty of time to decide what he's going to do. And from inches away, he hurled a brick with all his might into the side of Reginald Denny's skull.
The prosecutor said it was Williams who celebrated and danced with glee after assaulting Denny.
This is the right side of Reginald Denny's head as it appears today, caved in from the force of the brick defendant Williams hurled into his head.
The prosecutors say Watson and Williams had a part in nearly every major attack on motorists that day.
And this is defendant Williams bending over him, gloating. The final indignity performed by defendant Williams upon the helpless and unconscious bloody Fidel Lopez. Here Williams is spray painting Fidel's face. He painted his chest, his abdomen, and he spray painted his exposed genitals.
The defense says it is not Watson and Williams in the picture. It does not have to prove mistaken identity. It only has to establish reasonable doubt. John Gibson, NBC News, Los Angeles.
If convicted, the two defendants could face life in prison.
Turning to world news headlines, Israeli warplanes hit Arab terrorist targets today in southern Lebanon. It's reportedly in retaliation for a Muslim terrorist attack that killed 8 Israeli soldiers and wounded 4 others. That attack happened in the Israeli security zone in South Lebanon. There's no word on casualties in the air attack.
And in Bosnia, UN troops are exploring the mountaintop overlooking Sarajevo to see if Serbian forces are still there. Under a UN agreement, Serbian forces were to withdraw from the mountain, but the Bosnian president believes Serbs are still atop Mount Igman. He has threatened to walk out of the peace talks in Geneva.
Jim Tillman is here, and it looks like umbrellas are certainly in season for today.
Even more than that, there's some very heavy weather now moving across the southern portion of our viewing area. The National Weather Service has declared this to be under a severe thunderstorm warning, and we're talking about 3 counties in the southern areas here. We're talking about Kankakee County right here, and we're talking about Ford and Iroquois counties, and you can see all the red. That's severe thunderstorm activity. This particular storm cell right here, moving through Kankakee County, should arrive in Madison about 5:08 and about 5:10 at Park Forest. You can see the lineup of them as they're moving through there. Lots of very heavy activity across this area. There has been a tremendous amount of lightning that has occurred throughout the afternoon, and right at this moment is still occurring along these storms. Now, they're all moving toward the east at about 30 miles an hour. It's somewhere between 30 and 35 miles an hour. You can see them moving in to northwestern Indiana and right across the north central portion of Indiana, moving into Berrien County, Michigan. For those of you north of the city of Chicago and in the northern portions of Cook County, you have very little except some light rain. There might be a little moderate shower from time to time, but all the really heavy activity is well to the south and to the west, and of course it should not affect you. Showers and storms are certainly part of the picture. Some of that rain could be very heavy, have gusty winds and frequent lightning. Stay tuned to Channel 5 News for further developments on all of this. It'll surely be over within the next few hours. In the meantime, we have to be careful on the south side.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Jim. Well, teenage girls have been copying singer Madonna's look. Now a record company says Madonna is the one doing the copying. Easy Street Records and Publishing is suing Madonna, saying that her songs Bad Girl and Deeper are copies of their songs. The record company is asking $2.25 million from Madonna for copyright infringement. The suit also names Time Warner and others.
Are you stumped for a way to have fun this weekend? Entertainment reporter Norman Mark has some suggestions of new things to see or do, ranging all the way from a new Woody Allen movie to an air show.
The best of the new movies opening this weekend, Woody Allen's Manhattan Murder Mystery. Woody and Diane Keaton are neurotic detectives with Angelica Houston as a tough lady who teaches him to play poker. It's Woody's funniest in a long time.
Perrier? Oh, what are you talking about? I had rum cake.
2 overlooked but entertaining films are now in video. The offbeat Mad Dog and Glory features Bill Murray as a stand-up comic and gangster with Robert De Niro as a cop. Watch It is about guys who still play pranks on each other years after leaving college. A movie about when will the boy become the man, and it's marvelously on target. Frank Sinatra begins a 3-night stand at the Paramount Arts Center in Aurora tonight, with some of the ticket money going to renew that theater. Black tie optional. Tears for Fears, a British group which has sold over 15 million albums worldwide, kick off their American tour with a show at the Riviera Theater on Friday. It's been 40 years of memorable performances for the Dells of Harvey, Illinois, and they play the Plaza Theater in Merrillville on Friday. The Kinks, 30-year veterans of the rock and roll scene, play Poplar Creek Saturday night. Their hits have included You Really Got Me, All Day and All of the Night, and Lola. About 2 million people will attend the 35th annual Chicago Park District Air and Water Show along the lakefront Saturday and Sunday from noon to 4:30. It's the nation's oldest and largest free annual air and water show. and it features the Air Force Thunderbirds flying 18 inches apart. Call this Hey, Hey in the Park. Friday night, Venetian Night, the Grant Park Music Festival at the Petrillo Music Shell, presents sportscaster Jack Brickhouse and his reading of Casey at the Bat. And I predict Jack will not strike out. I'm Norman Mark, Channel 5 News.
And back with more news, including a turtle invasion of France in just a moment.
This weekend at Homemakers, we're clearing out floor samples.
Please, call us previously admired.
Hundreds of these pieces have been on display in our showrooms.
Being admired.
And now through Monday, they're available at clearance prices. So smile, you're at Homemakers.
Paint it right, lose sight. Puts up a fight, lose sight. Stay so bright, beautiful sight, lose sight. Pure delight, lose sight. Dynamite, lose sight. Scrubs up bright, excite, excite, lose sight. Weather tight, lose sight. Feels so right, lose sight. Black and white, color bright. Hold on tight, lose sight. A lasting sight, lose sight. Or a finish that won't quit, lose sight, right.
Why keep looking low and high for the best deal on a new truck, when deals like these can get you into a new GMC Jimmy without getting soaked? There are those who wait and those who forge ahead, those who sit idly by, and those who know that great values on a GMC Jimmy can't last forever.
He's better at this than I have ever been at anything in my life.
You're playing not to lose, Josh. You've got to risk losing. You've got to risk everything.
You have to have contempt for your opponents. You have to hate them.
But I don't.
He's not afraid of losing. He's afraid of losing your love.
You're a much stronger player than I was at your age.
Searching for Bobby Fischer, rated PG, now playing.
This weekend at Homemakers, we're clearing out floor samples.
Please, call us previously admired.
Hundreds of these pieces have been on display in our showrooms.
Being admired.
And now through Monday, they're available at clearance prices. So smile, you're at Homemakers.
Well, the Ninja Turtle movies have come and gone, but something has remained. In France, officials say the films led to a boost in people buying pet turtles. But now there are too many turtles. Some were flushed down toilets, others were released in lakes, and they are multiplying and growing. Some reported to be more than 100 pounds, and some are reported to be biting people, especially children. Authorities are warning residents not to swim at some vacation spots in France. They want local zoos to take the turtles. They may even have to drain the lake that provides the drinking water to the Riviera. The lake is full of turtles.
He's considered a legendary mob mastermind in Chicago, but he got caught, and now he's going to jail, most likely for life. Details next on the Channel 5 News at 5.
There's nothing like the feel of a leather jacket, unless it's the feel of getting one for just $69.99. Starting this Sunday, top quality leather jackets at spectacular savings at TJ Maxx. Imagine how smart that'll make you feel. See you Sunday.
Cliff here at IHOP, and I'm here to clear up some confusion about IHOP's delicious T-bone steak breakfast and their mouth-watering T-bone steak dinner. Now, there is no T-bone steak lunch, but you can get the breakfast for lunch or dinner. No, wait. Is that right? You can get the lunch for breakfast. No. You can get the breakfast for lunch or dinner, but then dinner and forget it. Nobody does breakfast like IHOP does breakfast or dinner.
Enjoy a delicious T-bone steak breakfast just $5.99 or dinner just $6.99 at your IHOP now.
Channel 5 WMAQ TV, Chicago. Now, live from the NBC Tower, this is the Channel 5 News at 5.